So the Boston Celtics are playing the Dallas Mavericks in the NBA Finals this season, and that means Kyrie Irving is coming back to Boston. I think it's safe to say Kyrie Irving and the Boston Celtics have a pretty turbulent relationship, to say the least, and in this video I want to go over the entire era of Kyrie Irving in Boston, as well as everything that happened after that. So without further ado, let's get started. Our story begins on August 30th, 2017, as the Boston Celtics trade for Kyrie Irving from the Cleveland Cavaliers in exchange for Isaiah Thomas, Jay Crowder, Ante Zizic, and a 2018 first-round pick from the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, the vibes around Celtics basketball were incredible at this time. We just traded for Kyrie Irving, one of the best point guards in the NBA. We won the Gordon Hayward sweepstakes, which I promise you in 2017 was a big deal. And we just drafted this kid named Jason Tatum, 3rd overall out of Duke, and maybe he could be really good one day. As the 2018 season goes along, there are just so many fun memories. The vibes are amazing. Kyrie Irving's playing amazing basketball. The Celtics are 49-17 with Kyrie Irving in the lineup. And sadly, he injures his knee at the end of the season, and he can't play in the playoffs. And even with no Kyrie Irving, the Boston Celtics are doing amazing in the playoffs. They beat the Bucks in the first round. They beat the 76ers in the second round. They make the Eastern Conference Finals. That Jason Tatum kid we were talking about earlier dunked on LeBron James in Game 7. Sadly, the Celtics would lose that Game 7, but that doesn't matter. This team wasn't even supposed to be in the conference finals. They were awesome without Kyrie Irving, and just imagine what they're going to look like next year. We have now reached media day of the 2018-2019 season, and I would say right here, this picture is probably where the Kyrie Irving era in Boston peaked for the Celtics. I mean, the Celtics team is going to be incredible. They have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, who just led the Celtics to the conference finals in Game 7 against 2018 LeBron in their rookie and sophomore years. They have Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward returning from injury. They have Al Horford locking down the 5. They have amazing bench depth in Marcus Smart, Terry Rozier, Marcus Morris, Aaron Baines, Daniel Tice. I mean, who's stopping this team? And even better, Kyrie Irving plans on re-signing next summer, and the Celtics are going to become a dynasty. Yeah, that didn't go so well. The 2019 Celtics were just consumed with drama and fighting and arguing. There was just so many problems. I'm not going to talk about all the drama that happened, but one of the bigger things involving Kyrie Irving was when Gordon Hayward didn't pass him the ball at the end of a game against the Orlando Magic, and he just kind of absolutely flipped out on Gordon Hayward. He was not very happy that he didn't get the ball at the end of the game. Another thing that happened with Kyrie Irving is that he called LeBron James to apologize, that being a young player wanting everything at his fingertips, kind of calling out the rest of his teammates like Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. This was not 100% Kyrie Irving's fault, but he did not help the situation calling out his teammates every other day, and his teammates calling him out doesn't help either. And I think the final thing that happened in 2019 that really got Celtics fans irritated was the fact that this video came out of Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant talking with each other. Around the end of the video, it looks like Kyrie Irving is talking about 2 max slots somewhere, maybe in New York, but I mean, he said he would re-sign in the summer. There's no way that we should really be concerned about this, right? The conversation with Kevin Durant was probably the last thing that occurred in the regular season that was really big drama with Kyrie Irving until the playoffs hit. The Celtics swept the Indiana Pacers in the first round pretty easily, but then they played the Milwaukee Bucks, and they won Game 1, and even Paul Pierce was saying that this series was over. And then he proceeded to have probably the worst playoff series of his entire career. He averaged 20.4 points, 6.4 assists, 4.2 rebounds. He shot 35% from the field and 23% from 3. He had this quote after Game 3 where he says, "From this point on, I don't think you'll see another 8 for 22 out of me." And then in Game 4 proceeds to shoot 7 of 22. It was overall just a disappointing end to a disappointing season for the Celtics and Kyrie Irving, but now it's time for free agency, and we're going to see, is Kyrie Irving going to re-sign with the Celtics like he said he was going to do at the beginning of the year? Oh, yeah, no, that didn't happen. On June 30th, 2019, Kyrie Irving signed a 4-year, $141 million deal with the Nets to team up with Kevin Durant in Brooklyn. So now what do the Celtics do now that Kyrie left the Celtics for pretty much absolutely nothing? The Celtics would end up signing Kemba Walker, who we 100% thought as Celtics fans was better than Kyrie Irving because he wasn't going to cause drama. And we also signed Enes Kanter, who took Kyrie Irving's old number 11 and said he wants to retire it in the rafters just like Kyrie did in the Nike commercial. Safe to say that didn't work out very well. There wasn't a lot of beef between Kyrie Irving and the Celtics as a whole, but Celtics fans were not very happy with Kyrie Irving. The only thing really to note is that the first game back that the Nets played at TD Garden, Kyrie Irving didn't play, so there were posters like this hung up all around Causeway Street near TD Garden. Celtics fans thought Kyrie was ducking them as they brought their own signs to voice their displeasure, but even though Kyrie Irving wasn't there. And this brings us to 2021, where the story starts to heat up a little bit in its third act. In 2021, the Boston Celtics were facing off against the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of the playoffs this season. The Brooklyn Nets were running out their big three for the first time in the playoffs of Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and now James Harden, while the Celtics were running out Jason Tatum, Evan Fournier, and Romeo Langford. This series was over in 5 games. It wasn't that competitive. The Nets just absolutely blew out the Celtics, but it's what happened in Game 4 that really sparked the rivalry between the city of Boston and Kyrie Irving. Game 4 of the first round against the Nets was the first time that TD Garden had a full capacity crowd since the lockdown. It was an absolutely electric atmosphere. I was there. I've never felt energy in that place like it was that game. It was incredible. The Brooklyn Nets absolutely dominated Boston this night, but what happened after the game was really when it started to get crazy. Kyrie Irving, after the end of the game, decided to walk up to the Boston Celtics logo at center court and just stomp on Lucky the Leprechaun. Safe to say, a full capacity crowd of Boston Celtics fans who just watched their team get blown out by their most hated rival and then watched their most hated rival disrespect their team right in front of them were not very happy. They weren't happy to the fact that a Boston Celtics fan threw a water bottle at Kyrie Irving as he was walking down the tunnel. Now, I don't condone throwing a water bottle or anything at an athlete, even if they just disrespected your team right in front of you. However, this is kind of a lightning rod as to how Celtics fans were feeling about Kyrie Irving at this time. And they would only have to wait one more year to show their displeasure. In 2022, the Brooklyn Nets and Boston Celtics faced off in the first round of the playoffs once again, but this time, the Boston Celtics were ready for them. Game 1 of this series was probably one of the best games I've ever seen. It was back and forth all night, and it ended with Jason Tatum hitting the game-winning layup on Kyrie Irving at the buzzer to win Game 1. And you could tell in this Game 1 that Celtics fans were really getting underneath Kyrie Irving's skin. They were probably saying some terrible things, but Kyrie Irving was flipping them off this entire time. And then he had this moment where he was inbounding the ball and he decided to flip off the fans behind him. And after they were chanting to him, he started like kind of fake crying and just kind of mocking them. I don't know. I kind of thought it was funny at the time. I can't lie to you. Anyway, the Celtics would end up sweeping the Brooklyn Nets in the first round of 2022. Kyrie Irving probably had one of the worst playoff series of his career, as well as Kevin Durant. And if I'm being honest, this is kind of where the story ends for right now. There wasn't anything that happened in 2023. He played half a season with the Brooklyn Nets before getting traded to the Mavericks, where they would end up missing the playoffs. And now in 2024, Kyrie Irving and the Dallas Mavericks made it all the way to the NBA Finals to face off against the Boston Celtics, which I'm sure is going to be a very fun series. And this is where we are today with the history of Kyrie Irving and the city of Boston. I guess one of my biggest takeaways after looking through this entire history is I do kind of feel bad for Kyrie Irving a little bit. Kyrie Irving was only 25 years old when he got traded to the Boston Celtics, and he was immediately supposed to be the face of one of the biggest franchises in the NBA. And then in his first ever playoff series with the Celtics, he has to miss it, and his team ends up making the conference finals without him. And then in 2019, even though there was some absolutely amazing talent on that team, there was only one ball, and there was about 7 to 10 players that thought they deserved to get as many shots as possible. However, I'm not going to lie to you, I see why the city of Boston doesn't really like him very much. He said he was going to re-sign here, and after a tough season, he just leaves to go to New York with Kevin Durant. And then obviously he steps on the logo, which is a huge sign of disrespect towards the Celtics. And honestly, there was never really any animosity between the guys on the Celtics and Kyrie Irving. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown have said before that they're still friends. And now today, everybody in this situation is even more mature. Kyrie Irving is 32 years old now, and he's part of one of the best backcourt duos of all time. And Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are one of the best wing duos of all time, leading the Celtics. And honestly, whether you want to say it's a good or a bad thing, without Kyrie Irving being on the Celtics those 2 years, the Celtics probably aren't in the position they are today. And if Kyrie Irving didn't leave, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown probably don't become the players that they are right now. So in conclusion, even though I don't really care anymore, I do still expect people to boo Kyrie every single time he touches the ball in Game 1 of the NBA Finals coming up on June 6th. However, as a whole, I feel like we can kind of get over this as Celtics fans, but to be honest, I am just very excited to watch some high-level basketball, and I'm hoping that the Boston Celtics can beat Kyrie Irving for an NBA championship this year. Thank you everybody for watching. I did not expect this video to be damn near 10 minutes long, but if you're still here, thank you again for watching, and let's go Celtics.